Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. Today we are going to discuss another topic, that is your packaging. Packaging means that we are focusing about the food packaging. Okay, now after the processing of the food product, the last step is what? It is the packaging of the food product. The last step is what? Last step is the packaging of the food product, and this food packaging is very important because this food packaging prevent the contamination and it is easy to handle. Means that when during the transportation, if the food is proper packed, then it is very easy to handle. And even this food packaging are important for discussing, for maintaining the shelf life of the food product. Maintaining the shelf life of food products. Okay, and this packaging also ensure that the storage of the food product, means that there are some packaging like your tetra packs. If the product are tetra packed, then they can store at room temperature also, like in case of your juices, milk, if they are the tetra pack, then they can store at the room temperature before opening. So this is about the basic of that packaging that we have to discuss. So let's start the lecture. So in today's lecture we have to discuss about the introduction of food packaging, their definition, function, mass transfer and food package interaction, packaging material, packaging method and conclusion. Introduction. So these food packaging are considered as a combination of three things. Like here, if the invention of the food packaging are occurred due to the combination of the art, science and technology, because there are various type of food packaging present into the market, and they are used in a transportation and selling of the food product. If we talk about the primary role of the food packaging, so the primary role is that the protection of the food product, protection of the food product from the outside environment. This is a primary role, okay? And it can also prevent the food product from the damage which are occur due to the abrasion, to contact this food and to provide the consumer with the information which is give the knowledge about the ingredients of the food products and the nutrition of the food product, because food packaging carry all these things. Okay, so these are the primary role of the food packaging. The first one is that the protection of the food from that outside environment, and along with it, it also protect the food product from the damage which are occurred due to the abrasion, and contact the foods contain that food product, which give the knowledge to the consumer about the food product, like the information about their ingredients and nutrition. The main requirement of that food packaging is what? Is that the maintenance of the safety of the food product, wholesomes and quality of the food product. Definition. Packaging can be defined as method to protect and contain the food with the aim of minimizing the environment impact of of our consumption. So the definition of the food packaging is what? Simply the protection of the food product from that outside environment and contain the food product inside it. Okay, now suppose that if you are preparing that, suppose the kurkure, or any chips. Now, if the food packaging is not present, now how that food product are handled? So it contained it converted the handling of the food product very easily. According to the Packaging Institute International, that is PII, they define the food packaging as the enclosure of product items or package in a wrapped pouch, bag, box, cup, tray, and tube, bottle, or other container so that it can perform one or more of the following function, like their containment, protection, preservation, communication, utility, and performance. Now, if the device or the container perform one or more of these functions, then they are considered as a package. Function. Packaging material have a four main function, that is protection, communication, convenience, and containment. Protection from the outside of the environment. Communication means that it gives the knowledge about the food product, like the ingredients present into it, veg, non-veg, their manufacturer information, their FSSAI license, their nutritive value, each and everything are present into that food product. Convenience means that the easy to handle. Okay, like suppose that if we prepare the bread, now if we don't pack that bread into the proper packaging material, then how we can handle it? Containment means that we can enclose the food product into that packaging material. Traceability and tamper indication are said to be that secondary function which increase the importance of that food packaging. The first one is your protection. Protection is what? The main objective of the packaging is that they protect the food product from outside environment and also protect against any spoilage, deterioration which are occur due to that physical damage, chemical changes, or the biochemical damage. Communication means that the instruction or the information which are given into the food product, like the ingredients information, their nutritive value, their FSSAI license number, okay, even the cooking instruction which are given into the some product, veg and non-veg information, which are very important. Convenience means that ease of access, handling, and disposal, the product viability and reusability. Containment means that obviously that I already told you that the hold the content and keep them secure until they are used. Traceability. Traceability means that the ability of the tracking of the food product. Okay, now food packaging contain the information about the manufacturer, distributor, and processing. Okay, and if we have, suppose that if we have a curd, now that curd are expired, or now maybe it not expired but it are spoiled without any without expired. Okay, now what we have to do, with the help of that packaging material, we can track the information about the food product, and we can all that all product of that similar batch number, because every food product contain a batch number. So these food packaging is very important because it gives the track of the food product. Traceability, ability to track any food through all stages of that production, processing, and distribution. Tamper and indigestion. Food tampering is the international contamination of food product with intent to cause harm the consumer or the private company. There are several measures which used to detection of the tampering like banding, special membrane, breakaway, closure, special printing on bottle liners or composite cans such as graphics or text that which are irreversible changes upon opening, and special printing which cannot be easily duplicated. Packaging as a marketing tool. Obviously packaging material are act as a marketing tool because it act as a use in the advertisement. Packaging protect the interest of that consumer. Information on the packaging material like your quantity, price, additive, ingredient, inventory level, lot number, size, and weight, they have a very important for the merchandising. Social economic factors in food packaging, like use of the food packaging is socio-economic indicator which increase that the spending of the ability of the population, and increase in the gross domestic product, or an increase in food availability. Packaging technology must balance the food protection with other social and environment issues which include that energy and material cost, heightened social environmental consciousness, strict regulation on pollutants, and disposal of municipal solid waste. Mass transfer and food packaging interaction. Okay, now the quality of the packaged material is directly related to the attributes of the food and packaging material. Now when we have to decided the packaging material of the food product, it is totally related to that the quality of the food product, because the quality of the food is totally directly related to that food and packaging material. Okay, if packaging material is not in good quality, then obviously the quality of the packed food is not considered as a good. The quality of most packed food deteriorate owing to mass transfer phenomena. Mass transfer phenomena means that the absorption of the moisture, oxygen permeation, flavor loss, absorption of undesirable odor, and migration of packaging component. Here what happens, suppose that if you are not using a good quality of the packaging material, then the food product which are packed maybe absorb the moisture, oxygen permeation, flavor loss, absorption of that undesirable odor, and sometimes the packaging component are also migrated inside the food product. So migration may also result in mass transfer of an additive from that packaging material to the food product. Several possibilities have been reported of the interaction between the foods and the packaging material when they come in contact with each other. There are lots of the possibilities are reported in a past where the interaction of the food product and the material of the packaging material are take place. Okay, now suppose that you are packed a milk. Now this milk coming when it come into the contact of the packaging material, the material transfer into the milk. This is known as a transformation. So these are the following, like migration of the volatile and non-volatile component. Both type of the migration are occur. Okay, packaging material contain the volatile component and non-volatile component. Okay, so both can be migrate from that packaging material into the packed food product, like including the unreacted monomers or additive which are present in the form of that polymerized packaging material, and they can transfer into the product by the process that is known as a diffusion. Sorption of component from the food or more from the environment into the packaging material. This kind of molecules are sorbed, which are totally depend upon the type of the interface between the food and the packaging material. Some common example are sorption of that fatty matter, pigments and vitamins into the packaging material. Phenomena is known as a absorption. Permeation of that volatile compounds, that is flavor and water vapor, which from that food through the packaging material, and the process is known as a permeation. So this is a mass transfer in a, this is a diagram which represented the mass transfer phenomena in a food product: permeation, absorption, diffusion, diffusivity, solubility and permeability. And it is known as a simplified mass operation is illustrated in that figure. Diffusivity means that the diffusion of the quantified by that kinetic parameter, and that is known as a diffusion coefficient or the diffusivity. Here the driving force are act behind the transportation process, which is a difference between that chemical potential between the two faces on either side of the membrane. The transport process is slowly try to equalize that the concentration, partial pressure, chemical potential, or sorry, of that penetrate in the phases which are separated by that membrane. Permeability is if when the thermodynamic equilibrium occur, the gas permeabilities permeability, or which is also known as the permeability coefficient and denoted by the P. It is what? It is the product of diffusibility and the solubility coefficient. So P is equal to ds. D is the diffusivity and S is the solubility coefficient. Packaging material. The major category of material used for food packaging is glass, metal, paper, and paperboard and plastic. Now, you can pack the food product in different type of the packaging material. That is your, you can pack it in a glass, you can pack it in a metal, paper, paperboard, and that plastic. So there are many multi-layer packaging materials are containing either layer of different plastic or combination of plastic with paperboard, metal or glass, and this type of packaging is known as a tetra pack. Tetra pack contain a multiple packaging material, and this multiple packaging material are sometime um, contain the layers of that different plastics, and sometimes the combination of the plastic with that paper or paperboard and metals or glass. In many cases that packaging material with two layer is chosen. Type of the packaging material: the first one is your paper. Paper and paper boards are the sheet of the material produced from an interlaced network of cellulose fibers, which are derived from the wood by using a sulfate and sulfide. Okay, either the paper and the paper board, it is simply the sheet material which are mm, isolate from the cellulose fibers, and the cellulose fibers are derived from that wood, and it can be isolated by using the sulfate and sulfide. The fiber are then pulped, bleached and treated with the chemicals and stretching agents so that it can produce the paper product. Craft paper is made using a process which involves the pulverizing the wood pulp and blending the material into the large sheet of strong brown and wood filaments. Now craft paper are what? Craft paper are the part of that paper which can be prepared by the pulverizing the wood pulp. After pulverization, it can be blended into the material with that large sheet which have a strong brown and wood filaments. Then expensive, but this craft paper are what? They are expensive. If we talk about that paper product, the craft process include the use of the sulfate in the conditioning of the wood pulp, which also help in the addition of the overall strength of the finished paper. One of the most common use of that plain brown craft paper is the manufacture of paper bag for the use of the grocery store. Okay, the craft paper are basically used in a grocery store for the storage of that food product. Sulfide paper. Sulfide paper are lighter and weaker as compared to that craft paper. Sulfide papers is glass so that it can improve its appearance and it can increase its wet strength and oil resistant. In the production process of that sulfide paper, the wood is treated with the peroxide and hypochlorite, then subjected to the operation that yield a thick paper product. It can coat it for higher print quality, and it can also used in a laminate with that plastic or foil. It is used to make a small bag and wrappers for packaging the biscuits and confectionery. Grease proof paper. Grease proof paper is made by a process which is known as the beating, in which we have a cellulose fibers which undergo a longer than the normal hydration periods, and it causes the fibers to break up and become the gelatinous. These fine fibers thereafter packed densely so that it can provide a surface which is resistant to the oil but not wet agent. Okay, now grease papers are what? The grease papers are, they have a resistance to that oil, but they cannot be resistant to that wet agent. Grease proof papers are used for the wrapping of that snack foods, cookies, candies, bar, and other oily food. A use that is being replaced by the plastic film. Glycine is a grease-proof paper with a highly smooth and glossy finish, and it can be used as a linear for that biscuit, cooking fats, fat food, and bagged goods. Parchment paper. Parchment paper are produced by the acid-treated pulp. This acid treated pulp are passed through that sulfuric acid bath, and after that the acid are modified by using this cellulose so that it can make it the smoother and impressive to water and oil, which adds some wet strength. Okay, now that parchment paper have the board quality, they can resist to that oil and also resist to that water. It does not provide a good barrier to that air and moisture. Is not heat soluble, and it is used mostly to pack the bakery product with a high fat content. Next category is your paperboard. Paperboard are much thicker than the papers. They have a higher weight per unit area, and it can be made up by the multiple layer, and it can commonly used for the shipping like boxes, curtain, tray, and is seldom used for the direct food contact. Okay, now these paper board are basically used for the shipping of the food product. Here the shipping can be take place in either in a boxes, curtain, and tray, in which the food are directly contact with that material. There are several different type of paper boards like whiteboard, solid board, fiber board, and chipboard. Next category is your glass. Production of glass container which involve heating a mixture of silica, sodium carbonate, limestone or calcium carbonate, and alumina. Now we have a silica. This silica are act as a glass former, and we have a sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate are the melting agent. Then we have a limestone which are also known as a calcium carbonate. calcium carbonate, and alumina. They are act as a stabilizer. Okay, so we can, what we do, we heat it at high temperature. Okay, when we heat it, all the material are converted into the liquid, or you can say that it can melt. Until it can melt, we can heat it into a thick liquid mass. Then it can transfer into the mold. Then this mold are converted into that packaging material. Advantages are what the glass poses very good barrier properties, so it can maintain the freshness of the food product for a longer period of time without impairing the taste, flavor, visibility of that product, and the ability of withstand high processing temperature. Disadvantage like brittle, heavy, and non-degradable. Plastic are synthesized by the condensation or addition or cross-linking polymerization of monomers unit. When a condensation polymerization occur, then the polymer chain grow by the condensation, then it react with the molecule and is combined by the formation of the water or alcohol. Thermal and mechanical properties which can partially modify in order so that the manufacture retortable packages with that plastic which have a high melting point or thermosoluble package making use with a low melting point, and it can develop a very flexible structure like sachet wrapping, semi-grid structure like tray and tube, and rigid structure like bottle closure and tanks. Polymers can be classified into two categories according to their behavior with that heat: thermoplastic and thermosetting. Thermoplastics are softened and it can melt on heating and solidify again on cooling. Okay, when we have a thermoplastic polymer, what when we heat it, it can melt, and when we cool it again, it can solidify. They are easily molded and extruded into the films, fibers, and packaging. Examples like polyethylene, polypropylene, and polyvinyl chloride. Thermosetting polymers, in contrast, become hardened. Thermosetting polymers are much harder than the thermoplastic. On cooling, these plastics retain their shape and cannot return to their original form. They are hard and durable. Thermostat include the polyurethane, polyester, epoxy resins, and phenolic resins. Thermoplastic are less resistant than thermostats. Types of plastic. Various type of plastic are used for the packaging of the food product, that is your polyfen, polyester, polyvinyl chloride, dichloride, polystyrene, polyamide, and ethylene vinyl alcohol. Polyphens and polyester are the most common type of the plastic which are used in the packaging of the food product. Polyphens, the first one is your polyethylene, which is PE. It is the simplest, most versatile, and most expensive type of the plastic. It is synthesized by the addition of the polymerization of ethylenes. According to its density, it can be classified into the very low density polyethylene, that is your VLDPE. It is the very low density polyethylene. Low density polyethylene LDPE, medium density polyethylene MDPE, and high density polyethylene HDPE. However, LDPE and HDPE are the most common type of the polyethylene which is used in a food packaging. LDP, it is used in application where heat sealing is necessary. LDP show a excellent cold resistance up to -70 degrees Celsius. Therefore, it is used in the packaging of the frozen food product. HDPE is stiff, strong, tough, resistant to the chemicals, moisture, gas, easy to process, and easy to form. HDP is harder plastic and has a higher melting point as compared to the LD. PE. Next is your polypropylene, PPE. It is harder, denser, and more transparent than the polyethylene. And it has a good resistance to that chemical and is effective at bearing water vapor. Various form of polypropylene have a different melting point and hardness. It has a high melting points around 160 degrees Celsius, and it is make it suitable for the application where thermal resistance is required, like hot filled microwave packaging. Popular use in yogurt container and margarine tubes. Polyesters, polyethylene tetrafilate, PET, polycarbonate, PC, and polyethylene naphthalate are polyesters which are obtained by that condensation polymerization from the esters monomers, which give result from the reaction between that carboxylic and alcohol. And it is most common used in the food packaging is PET, polyethylene and tetrafilate. PET is thermoplastic polyester which is used in the synthesize which is synthesized by the condensation of that tetraphthalic and the ethylene glycol. Advantages: almost unbreakable, good barrier to that gases, that is your oxygen and carbon dioxide and moisture. Thus food product stored in PET have a longer shelf life, good resistant to the heat, minerals, oil, solvent and acid, but not to the base. PET is a packaging material of first choice for the beverages and the material, and the main reason for its popularity are gas like transparency, gas barrier properties which allow in the retention of that carbonation, lightweight and shatter resistance. Polycarbonate is formed by the polymerization of the sodium salt and by bisphenol acid with that carboxyl dichloride. It's a gas barrier properties are moderate, but it can provide a good barrier against that flavor and aromas. PC is resistant to the wide range of that temperature, like its melting point is 230 degrees Celsius and it can brittle the temperature minus 100 degrees Celsius. Polyethylene and naphthalate, that is PEN, is a condensation polymer with dimethyl naphthalene, carboxylate and ethylene glycol. PEN is chemically similar to that PET but more temperature resistant. They show excellent barrier properties for carbon dioxide, oxygen and water vapor as compared to those of the PET, and it can provide a better performance at higher temperature, allowing not refill, rewashing and reuse. PET retain our flavors, odors, and therefore it is usually suited for the manufacturing the bottle for the beverages like beer. It is more expensive than that PET. Polyvinyl chloride, PVC, is obtained by the radical polymerization or chain polymerization from that vinyl chloride monomer. PVC is heavy, stiff and ductile and is a strong amorphous transparent material. It has an excellent resistance to the chemical like acids and base, grease and oil, good flow characteristic and stable electric properties. Polyvinyl dichloride, PVDC, is an addition polymer of that vanillidine chloride. It is heat soluble and serve as an excellent barrier to that water vapor, gases, fats and oily products. Major application like packaging of the poultry, curd, meat, cheese, snack foods, tea, coffee and confectionery. It is used in hot filling, retorting, low temperature storage and modified atmospheric packaging. Polystyrene, an addition polymer of styrene, clear, hard, brittle, with relatively low melting point. PS is colorless polymers which is used as a extensively for low cost application. It is available commercially in both pallet and sheet form, and it can mono-extruded, co-extruded with other plastic, molded or foam so that it can produce a range of the product. Foaming produces an opaque, rigid, lightweight material with the impact protection and thermal insulation properties. Typically, application of PS included that protective packaging like egg carton, container, disposal, plastic, silverware, lids, cups, plates, and bottle and food trays. Polyamide. It is a nylon. Nylon is a polyamide with amide structure in its main chain, and it can be synthesized by the condensation reaction which are occur in between the diamine and diacid. And repeating unit are held together by a link which is known as a amide link. Nylon also offer a good chemical resistance, toughness, and low gas permeability. Ethylene vinyl alcohol EVOH is a copolymer of ethylene and vinyl alcohol. It gives an excellent barrier to that oil, fat, and oxygen. EVOH films show a excellent gas barrier properties in dry condition. However, EVOH is greatly affected by the humidity, therefore mostly used in multi-layer co-extruded films in situation where it is not direct contact with to that liquids. Next, that is your metals. Metals are most versatile of all form of the packaging. They offer the combination of excellent physical protection and barrier properties, formability, decorative potential, recyclability, and consumer acceptance. Metal containers are vacuum sealed and thermally sterile at low oxygen pressure. Decomposition of nutrient is kept in a minimum in metal container since metal are perfect barrier to that oxygen, moisture and light. The major limitation of that metal container are what? They are costive, the weight of the container and the fact that they are difficult to crush. Aluminium and steel are the most predominantly used metal in a food packaging. Aluminium are the lightweighter silver white metal derived from the bauxite ore where it can exist in the combination with that oxygen and alumina. Tin plate. Tin plate has been used for preserving the food for well over 100 years. Product low carbon steel, that is black plate. Tin plate is the result of coating of both side of the black plate with that thin layer of that tin. Last is your tin free steel. It is also known as a electrolytic chromium coated steel or chrome oxide. Tin free steel required a coating of that organic material so that it can provide a complete corrosion resistance. So this is all about the packaging. The packaging method will be discussed in a later lecture. I hope you will understand, but if you have any query related to this, you are free to ask me in a comment box, or for a further detail, you can follow the ITLS Academy on different platforms, that is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp, and LinkedIn. And subscribe our channel ITLS Academy on YouTube and get our app from Google Play. You can also visit our website, that is www.itlsacademy.com, or ask your query to the helpline number that are already mentioned in your slide, that is 7080833450. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe our channel.